Okay, this is World War I Tactics to Survive Armageddon and Total War 3 by Reggie. We love Reggie here. I just recently learned World War I took place between 1914 and 1918, I believe? So we're all caught up. We're all up to date. Let's go! Movie time! Stim, this is modded, just so you're aware. You know, right? Thank you. This very modern looking tank, I could not tell at all.
Gentlemen, I have one question. When you visualize Warhammer, do you see machine gun nests mowing down hordes of the undead? Maybe war zeppelins dropping bombs on confused Frenchmen? Or even thousands of soldiers simultaneously suffering from trench foot? Well, you should, because today we're going to be using the technology and tactics of a certain
Blitzkrieg, okay.
century military power to conquer the world. But having both of our feet amputated will be the least of our concerns, because on turn 100, chaos portals will open all over the map, unleashing thousands of demons with an intense desire to consume our vital organs. Can we become a military superpower and overcome—
Oh my god, look at, it's literally World War I. What are these things? Cannons? Or like, yeah, it has to be cannons. Artillery guns. Are they different than cannons? Howitzers? It's the same. Nice. You know what? If I was in the military, I bet I would be a pilot. That would be me up there. I feel like I would make a great pilot because I have like good spatial awareness. Don't you have glasses? I can wear contacts. Pilots need to be very smart nowadays. How dare you? Are you saying I'm not smart enough to be a pilot? Only smart people get into the Air Force, goddamn. Okay, fine. You know what? Fine, I get it. You're saying I'm gonna be one of these guys? Your orders, my liege.
This cataclysmic event, or will we be subjugated by our demonic overlords? There's only one way to know. But first, a word from our sponsor, War Thunder.
Ooh,
it's a game with an impressive collection of over 2,000 tanks, planes, helicopters, and ships, which you can use to decimate your friends regardless of which team they're on. Personally, I like to turn off my weapons
Chad, didn't you tell me about this game at one point? I feel like we had a conversation about this game.
systems and just use myself as the explosive. In this regard, hypersonic jets are the most effective option.
Maybe
War Thunder
not.
is the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made, with dynamic and detailed damage models. So when I crash my F-16 into the side of a T-34 tank at 2,000 kilometers an hour,
Oh my god! Did you see that hand? Anyone else see that veiny hand for a second there?
get a complex breakdown of exactly why I am no longer alive. The customization is impeccable. Zooming in to read manga off the side of a Japanese tank, simply incredible. Finally, the graphics are so good I've suffered a mental break and I don't know what's real anymore. Play War Thunder for free on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. If you use my link in the comments, you'll get a
Oh, it was the game with the leaks. The military leaks,
bonus pack with free stuff. And if you don't use it, I'll find you. Here we are in the lovely old world. It's very much the same, except Karl Franz is now an ultra-nationalist and he's wearing a pickle hob. Normally, the Empire operates as a collection of city-states that eventually confederate through a series of popularity contests. It's a little like democracy, which is nice, because democracy is a system by the people and for the people.
But the people are retarded.
And I don't have time for
What?
such political machinations. So instead, we'll be doing all of our diplomacy with the business end of a machine gun. We start by introducing ourselves to our neighbors. Hello, and goodbye. I know these tactics might seem excessive, but we need to aggressively develop our empire if we want to have any hope of surviving Armageddon.
Okay.
Because I may have put it on max difficulty. With our
Oh
first
my god, max difficulty, holy.
enemy defeated, we can now recruit some conscripts. They're our weakest unit, and they're also preposterously expensive. But with a bit of focus fire, they can assassinate enemy generals in one volley. So, not bad. Clearly, we're going for quality over quantity. Our campaign started
Right, quality over quantity. That is the exact opposite of my strategy when I play Tomb Kings.
off quite well. We bounced around Reichland, liberating settlements from the tyrannical Polish menace. So impressive was our blitzkrieg that a beast wizard wanted to join the army. I know he may appear to be some kind of homeless schizophrenic, but he's actually just your average Los Angeles man. So
That doesn't look like a Los Angeles man. That looks like Florida man right there.
let him join our crusade. Now, in an effort to immediately bankrupt my own government, I decided to start building a second army led by the legendary General Wilhelm von Zollerhorn. And yes, I did Google that name to see if he was associated with any genocides. Surprisingly, he was not. Wilhelm is great because unlike Karl, his talent tree actually buffs our modern units. And you better believe I'm going to specialize him entirely in—
No, that was literally just Fuzzy.
to tank warfare. But
Literally Fuzzy.
But we don't have any tanks yet. In fact, all we have are people who wanted to be here slightly more than they wanted to be in a military prison. So let's get back on track. After finishing off the Empire secessionists, we received a quest to defend this beach from an amphibious landing of Vikings. Unfortunately for the Vikings, the beach they are landing on is Normandy Beach, because we have just unlocked light machine gun nests. And as you may imagine, a band of naked Norwegians is no match for the 1,200 rounds per minute coming out of these guns. After completing our revisionist history at Normandy, I decided to declare war on Emil von Corden. Why would I do that? Because no one can stop me. Emil's forces were difficult to defeat because there were 2,500 of them, but
that's not even fair. So how does that work? Having mods in Total War, does that like replace one of your troops, or like is it an extra thing they just completely add into the game? It depends on the mod.
Now there's not. This gives us ownership over one of the mountain passes, which will help us control our borders, especially when the demons arrive. While this was going on, Wilhelm was starting up a war on the Eastern Front, and things were going pretty well. However, we were starting to run into some growing pains. As it turns out, ignoring your faction's game mechanics in favor of ultra-violence is not a wise decision, because after declaring war on 2 people just for fun, everyone thinks I'm clinically insane and are—
Oh, see, this is why I avoided declaring war on, what was that one guy? The one guy. You know, the one guy. Anyways, there's this one guy I was gonna declare war on. Qatar! Yeah, Qatar. But then I was like, oh, I don't want everyone to think I'm insane and attack me. No, you were just a coward? How dare you call your princess a coward? I was being strategic, not cowardly.
Popularity is plummeting. Much like a high school girl, without popularity, Karl's empire starts to physically decompose. So to correct this economic tailspin, we need to increase our approval rating. To achieve that, we will stop fighting humans and instead focus on killing creatures of the night, such as the elderly. Unfortunately, Eben von Leibowitz didn't get this memo, and he attacked Wilhelm with 3,000 units. Now, machine guns are very strong, but as it turns out, they have their limitations, and we got absolutely massacred. This was a small but detectable setback in our plans.
Oh wow, he got a defeat. I'm so scared of getting losses in Total War, but I guess it happens.
With my army destroyed, Durthu took the opportunity to demand financial restitution from us, despite the fact I've never even talked to him before. I'll be honest, it really damages my confidence to be successfully extorted by sentient plant matter, and I won't be forgetting this. But for now, we can't afford another war. Now, it's not all bad, because the Beastmen just completed their end of a suicide pact by running headfirst into my—
The Beastmen? Did he say they did a suicide pact? My Beastmen? They were so lost without their princess. They lost their way without the princess. It's because we had a murder-suicide pact, chat. Beastmen neuron activation.
Nice little chunk of change. In fact, money is at a bit of a premium in my empire, because if I want to recruit a super heavy tank, it's going to cost me thousands of gold. Fortunately, I found a few ways to make money. For example, I struck up a trade deal with this lovely wood elf lady.
Shh, don't tell, but I think I want to kill her.
Aside from that, we've just been completing quests, trading with the Chinese, and stealing Heinrich Kemmler's social security checks. Speaking of Heinrich, the war is going quite well. Much like the Beastmen, he fell into the trap of driving himself into a wood chipper at 300 kilometers per hour. And since then, I've been using light tanks to carve my way through his territory. Truly, there is no cleaner pleasure than watching machine gun fire tear into hordes of the undead. Our campaign culminated in the siege of Castle Artois. It was kind of awkward because we have almost no melee units, and we can't really shoot them effectively from this angle, so I settled on using some breaching charges to open the castle.
Oh my god, they have dynamite? I guess if they have tanks, they got dynamite.
Gates. From here, I just let my tanks sit down in front.
Oh my god, look at the religious, or is this religious? What is this? Look at the symbolism? Wait, what kind of tank is that? An iron cross. That's not religious, Tim. Oh. You know what? I'm not well versed in this. I'm not well versed in my symbolisms. I see. I see. This is why Stim has my fealty.
Front of the door and shoot anyone who attempted to move from here to here. It was a little like Red Rover, except the stakes were a lot higher because angry Germans are shooting at you with machine guns. Eventually we won, but clearly I'm going to have to invest in some heavy artillery going forward. At this point, all of our initial enemies are dead, so it's a good time to assess our position in the world. It's turn 33, we occupy a thin band of regions along the southwest. I was hoping to have the entire empire conquered by turn 40, so it's safe to say we're a little behind schedule, but I'm confident that our rapidly developing military technology will help us catch up. For example, Wilhelm recently acquired a new mount. Is it a horse or even a dog sled pulled by children? No, it's a bulletproof Mercedes-Benz with a machine gun mounted on the roof. I'd like to see Vlad von Karstein
It's a bulletproof Mercedes.
compete with this. Speaking of Vlad, he's going to be our next target. He owns a lot of territory, and unfortunately for him, most of the Geneva Conventions do not apply.
Oh, Geneva Conventions. It reminds me of how based Canada is.
To reanimated corpses, so I should lose no popularity by eviscerating him with hundreds of landmines. However, the orcs were blocking my path into Sylvania, so I had to grapple with the serious moral dilemma of whether I should shoot them to death or cover them in napalm. I chose both. It was all going very well, because the orc military philosophy consists exclusively of screaming and running headfirst into bullets. The undead were experiencing a similar issue. Usually, they throw bodies at you until you become exhausted, but luckily for us, bullets do not get tired. The only problem we ran into was that the ghosts are ethereal, so roughly half of our bullets go right through them.
Oh yeah, your bullets wouldn't affect ghosts unless they're magical bullets.
But I am a firm believer in just shooting them twice as much. So we plowed forward, capturing Grenstock, Schwarzhaven, and Fort Obersteyr. And just as my military conquest was about to send me over the edge into an erection-induced coma,
A what now?
tragedy struck. Clan Scryer declared war on me. It's alright though, they're strength rank 21 and we're rank 2, so surely they won't invade me with 3 armies, you son of a bitch. You look like a smart guy, so I probably don't have to tell you, but this is really bad. Because for every Skaven we can see, there are probably 10 that we can't. With all of my generals tied up in the east, Ikit Claw had a fantastic time detonating nuclear devices on my—
Oh no, the Skaven! Ghost and Warhammer only negate 50% physical damage, so you just kill them twice as hard. Ah, right.
peasant militias. To make the situation even more embarrassing, the orcs actually started defeating us by changing their army composition. Did they also develop heavy machine guns, you may ask? Nope, not even close. Nope. They just put themselves on pigs and drove into my gun line really fast. The only silver lining to all of this was that I convinced Balthazar Gelt to confederate with me, which expanded my borders considerably. Naturally, this decimated my economy because AI build their empires in the same way a recently lobotomized man builds a helicopter, which is to say, not very well. Anyway, after sorting that out, I sent Gelt back to deal with the Skaven, and since he is a wizard of metal, I gave him some very heavy metal to work with. Aside from that, Wilhelm went on a paid vacation to the lovely city of Skavenblight to burn it to the ground and stomp on the ashes. Our capture of Skavenblight could be compared to cutting the head off the chicken that is Clan Scryer. The issue is that the body is still thrashing around and shitting all over my territory. However, after 10 turns and several doses of lorazepam, we had finally finished them off.
What is lorazepam? Is that like a antidepressant?
In their place, I installed several puppet governments that were loyal to me. I can't be everywhere at once, but having multiple semi-competent allies spread across the map should be enough. At this point, my blood
anti-anxiety. That's my streamer just yapping. What you expect from me? I have thought, I say it with 100% full confidence.
pressure was finally starting to normalize again, so obviously the ogres decided to rectify that by declaring war and attacking me with 3 gigantic armies. At this moment, the game expects me to just roll over and accept my dick flattening like a good boy, but I said no.
What? Okay, I don't remember this many dick jokes before. Every time I pause is some kind of weird joke.
I'm fighting this battle, and I'm not going to stop pissing myself until I win. We took up a
They were there? Okay.
defensive position atop this hill, and I started skirmishing with my tanks. The ogre race is an exciting experiment in determining just how much fat a body can accommodate before it ruptures at the seams, which makes them incredibly easy to shoot with a rifle. Even better than that, I found I could use my tanks to blob the enemies up, at which point my heavy machine guns would start tearing them apart. It was a bit of a messy process, but eventually we managed to shoot, bludgeon, and explode the ogres to death. As a thank you to Scrag for being such a good sport about the whole ogre genocide thing, I decided to travel into his territory, burn his castle down, and install a xenophobic city-state in its place. Now back to business. Vlad von Karstein is technically still alive, but his empire is dying, so we're going to administer some end-of-life care by caving in his cranium. This was fairly easy because I now have access to Pioneer infantry, which can construct razor wire, MG nests, mortars, and anti-aircraft bunkers for free. It takes a lot of time, but the
Trench warfare. We've unlocked the trenches, brothers.
Undead aren't exactly in a hurry. In fact, they're having a hard time moving at all, because Wilhelm upgraded his mount, and he's now flying above the battlefield in a war blimp, dropping cinder blocks and lawn darts on our enemies as they approach. Excited by the idea of
they got blimps? Holy.
Blimp supremacy, I decided to recruit several Imperial war blimps to help me clean up some Viking villages. They're stronger, considerably more phallic, and each one has 10 bombs they can deploy for massive damage.
Holy.
The Norwegians attempted to counter this by throwing axes into the sky.
I have my axe! Surely that will take down these blimps. My axes.
Not only did this tactic not work, it actually made me bomb them even harder. At this point, I've managed to narrow down what the actually good units are, and things are starting to move pretty fast. Some orcs declared war on us, we beat the daylights out of poor Festus, hired the Red Baron, who is apparently a melee specialist despite being in a biplane, killed some wood elves while no one was looking, used rocket launchers to defeat Pope Francis in a quest battle, and most importantly, we implemented government-mandated crystal meth for all of my soldiers, which is clearly evident by the way my machine gunners are currently tweaking out in between volleys. At this point, it's turn 70, and we control almost all Empire territory. Our only active enemies are the Norskins, the Orcs, and some British guys.
Wait, that's real? That's real? Pervitine? That's a real thing? That happened? Oh, I was not aware of that. Oh my god! They gave it to soldiers? What?
However, the Chaos Invasion will be coming soon, so it's time to start preparing. One of the most dangerous components of the invasion is that it spawns Chaos portals all over the world, which is like an open invitation for demons to remove your limbs. My plan is to construct several of these buildings across my territory.
Okay, we gotta talk about this. Pervitine, is it Pervitine? Used to be an over-the-counter pick-me-up in the 30s. Used later in the war. Whoa, they have the stimulants in the form of pills and chocolate bars. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Prevent chaos rifts from spawning, and if I pull this off just right, we will be the only faction in the entire world that isn't immediately decimated by hordes of demons. Now, I like my plan, and it should buy us some time. However, we will still have to fight our enemies at some point. To this end, I've ordered the construction of several super heavy class weapons. This is a super heavy mortar. For reference, here it is next to our previous generation of artillery. And now here it is turning a group of goblins into fertilizer. So, yeah. We also have this. I know it looks like a tank, but it's actually a Morse code transmitter. The signal is carried by a 40-pound high explosive shell. The receiver is located somewhere inside this man's gray matter, and the message is death. Finally, the Imperial Sky Destroyer. I haven't even used this one yet.
Holy, that is a big blimp, jeez.
But it cost me 20,000 gold to recruit and another 5,000 for upkeep, so I'm hoping this will be our secret weapon against the apocalypse. While my new units were recruiting, I spent the next couple of turns testing out different weapons. Here are some of my favorites. A mobilized anti-aircraft gun. It's fairly good at killing flying units, but I prefer to use it to execute political prisoners at close range. Helicopters. They're quick, fire explosive rockets, and you can land them to refuel their ammo. Very cool. Finally, we have colonial infantry. Each one can build 3 dirt walls that provide them cover and prevent the enemy from advancing. Of course, it doesn't take long for you to realize you can abuse this mechanic to instantly create an impenetrable fortress of dirt that puzzles even the most intelligent chaos giant.
Wow, who knew dirt walls would be so effective? But the giant doesn't understand, he can just step over it.
You may be wondering how I experimented with all these war machines. Quite simple, really. I took them across the water and found that the Vikings were very willing to let me test my weapons on them. And by very willing, I mean they weren't able to stop me. Turns out it wasn't climate change that killed the mammoth, it was natural predators, such as carnivorous flights of biplanes. Anyway, our extensive research and development program was actually generating us a lot of money, and the Empire had entered into something of a golden age. Wars were going well, money was flowing, and the Empire was blossoming. Basically, there has never been a better time to be a citizen living in the Empire. Doom is coming. Destroying all in its path. The end is nigh. You know what? Don't worry about that. I'm sure it's fine. On a complete...
Typical Total War player. Yeah, I'm sure it's fine. It's fine. Yeah. I'm not gonna read that, it's fine.
Unrelated note, I'm going to start drafting a few thousand people into the army now. We're on the final stretch at this point, and I'm just getting everything prepared. I imagine the literal apocalypse may slightly influence the Empire stock market, so I've saved up plenty of cash, recruited extra armies, and set up 2 layers of walls in all of my settlements. I finished out the next 10 turns fairly relaxed. The only excitement was when we were attacked by Leopold Wolf. For those of you who don't know, Mr. Wolf is an avid collector of traumatic brain injuries. How do I know this? Because I'm the one giving them to him. I don't know much about him, but he's very upset that I own the moot, and every 5 or 10 turns he shows up and starts screaming at me about taking the moot pill. I don't know what that means, so naturally I shot him with an anti-tank rifle. Other than that, we were ambushed by a large quantity of ogres. In case you are wondering, this is what a man's face looks like when he knows he's about to be spit roasted by murderous fat men. Actually, never mind. I was giving General Booger too much credit, but then again, it's hard to command your troops when you are dead. I took this incursion as an opportunity to use my flamethrowers to carve up the ogre kingdom and redistribute it to my vassal. I know this may seem like an overly violent solution to an otherwise mundane problem, but when you are a walking tank of napalm, suddenly every problem looks like a Vietnamese rice farmer. Turn 99. Things are good. Our southern border is protected by several military allies. The north is protected by Kislev and the Tree People, and everything else is protected by this. I went to sleep on turn 99 with a smile on my face, feeling safe and secure, but suddenly, dark and twisted visions crept
What is this?
into my mind. Eldritch abominations, legions of chaos warriors, and above all else, one very angry little man.
Yeah, angry boys! Yeah, I love my chaos.
I woke up in a cold sweat, frantically searching around my empire for the chaos invasion, but it's fine, there's nothing here. Oh wait, nope. There it is. There are a total of 75 fully leveled hostile chaos armies on the map, and as
75? Oh boy, 75 armies. Oh boy. Uh-oh.
as it turns out, they're hosting a destination wedding in Altdorf, because they're all headed straight for me. Truly, it is time to summon the Elector Counts. Actually, never mind. They're all dead, and we killed them. Well, at least our preparations worked, and we have no chaos portals in our territory, so that should buy us some time. Anyway, good luck everyone else. Now, first things first, Festus has willed himself back into existence, and he also brought 10 of his friends from the homeless shelter to come kill me. However, I anticipated this and brought 8 of my friends, which means the ultimate battle between modern firepower and disgusting freaks is about to unfold. I kicked it off with 4 of my best armies against 4 of theirs. We deployed our forces and began setting up on the high ground. I was worried they might rush us, but there appeared to be some gentleman's agreement that we would both wait for our reinforcements to arrive. This is what—
Oh my god, look at all the lines. Look at all the lines, the formations. That's blowing my mind. Higher difficulty AI cheats are insane. I can't even play it. I'm like struggling on, well, I'm not struggling too much on normal, but can't imagine playing on high difficulty.
what that looked like on my side. Howitzers, tanks, machine guns, armored cars, blimps, and of course, a shitload of infantry. On their side, whatever this is.
Oh!
We were in a bit of a standoff by this point, but fortunately only one of us had chemical weapons, and surprisingly it wasn't Festus. So I began pounding my enemies with poison-filled shells. This achieved some level of neuron activation, and they started plowing across the field toward me. Our lines were very neatly formed, and we were picking hundreds of them off with each volley, but within minutes it was absolute chaos. Giant insects chasing down heavy tanks, danger close artillery, blimps erupting into flames,
Oh my
giant
God.
balls of molten lead plowing
my
across
God.
the battlefield, and most importantly,
What? Giant balls of molten lead? That's crazy.
a very unfortunate amount of men being hacked apart by great axes. Luckily, we were able to volley fire the enemy leadership until they more closely resembled a spaghetti strainer than a human being. And with that
Ew.
taken care of, the Chaos forces began to fold. After about 18 minutes, they were in full retreat, and the post-battle screen looked like this. We completed this routine 3 more times to kill Festus and eliminate his faction. It was
The Fecundites? Is that what they're called? The what?
a victory for mankind, but one thing has become clear. This is not sustainable. My armies are in shambles, and there's still 50 Chaos Legions barreling down on us. Fortunately, we do have a chance. You see, when I enabled this endgame crisis, I toggled a setting called Faction Doom. Basically, the Chaos factions are incredibly strong. However, if we can manage to defeat their main general in combat, the rest of their empire will start to crumble. So
Oh, okay. It means they're super fertile, Stim?
I don't have to fight all of this, I just have to find and kill each leader before it's too late. Our first target? Archaon. He's the strongest faction and also in a surprisingly vulnerable position. I used Festus's portal to take Carl, Gelt, and Claude Dogburglar? Okay, whatever, I teleported them across the map and started a battle with Archaon. He was very strong, but I have yet to find a man who was able to withstand being shot by 1900 rifles. So anyway, he died, and next turn we had our proof of concept, because he went from being strength rank 1 to rank 89, and all of his armies are disappearing. One down, 6 to go. After defeating Archaon, I decided to close the Chaos Portal that he used to teleport here. To do this, we had to complete a moderately challenging battle against demons
Corn! It's my boy!
of Corn. But after we beat the teenage angst out of them, we were able to close the portal and claim a reward. I took this ridiculously strong sword that will probably corrupt my mind and turn me into a sadistic lunatic, and I'm okay with that. In fact, each type of portal seems to give you a different reward. Corn gives you access to extremely powerful items, Nurgle gives all of your armies poison attacks and attrition resistance, Sinch provides empire-wide buffs and removes Fog of War, and finally Slanesh gives you laughably high casualty replenishment and empire growth at the cost of spreading their filthy corruption. This reward mechanic isn't very narratively important, but I think it's a nice touch, and I like it. Anyway, our next target was Sigvald, accidentally. You see, I tried closing this other Chaos portal, but I fell into it and got teleported directly to Sigvald's femboy empire. An empire which was remarkably unprepared for
I gotta fall in there! Send me in!
supremacy. I felt bad shooting such a beautiful man to death, but dare I say, he looks even better now. By this point, Azazel's forces were starting to invade from the north. It took them only 2 turns to kill all of Kislev, and I really don't like the way they're looking at me. Most of my main armies have been dispatched across the world to hunt down Chaos generals, so I'm stuck defending my territory with these micro-armies. They looked good on paper, but suddenly I feel unprepared. Anyway, the fastest way for me to stop this will be to kill Azazel, so I sent 2 armies up the river to look for him, and we didn't have to look very hard because he attacked us on the next turn. It's not looking good, but what the auto
that is a big guy right there. Holy, he's huge.
resolve seems to be forgetting is that this is my main tank regiment, and as it turns out, no amount of horniness can protect you from having your limbs blown off in an explosion. And furthermore, Azazel's tactic of throwing himself under my tank treads was questionable at best. With Azazel defeated and his ecstatic legion in disarray, we've bought ourselves some time. For my next magic trick, I will be making Valkia the Bloody disappear. I took Blimp Boy through the
Oh, Valkia is so cool. I like Valkia.
Chaos portals again and managed to land right next to her. She had a lot more units than me, but she's having a very hard time getting them through this choke point while I drop bombs on it. This is what we call a skill issue. Anyway, Valkia was absolutely seething at the fact she forgot to bring ranged units to a blimp battle, so I had free reign to
Okay, this is ridiculous. Look at the sizes of those blimps. There's just blimps everywhere. That's so funny.
basically do whatever I want. With her defeated, we just have 3 to go: Kolek, Wulfric, and Village. Speaking of Village, his faction is absolutely mopping the floor with the Chinese, as evidenced by the fact I am looking at a map of Cathay with only 1 Cathayan settlement. Anyway, I sent Gelt and Dogburglar through a portal to chase Village down, but he got the drop on us at Dragon's Gate, and it's not looking so good. We did our best with the basic infantry, but they're remarkably squishy and don't hold up so well against return fire. Also, this creature exists.
What the? Is that a mod or is that actually one of the troops? Because that is cool. Whatever that is very cool. Vortex Beast in-game. Mutalith Vortex Beast. That's just something Zinch can make? That is so cool.
Doing horrible things to anyone unlucky enough to survive the enemy's ranged attacks. I tried everything: magic, bombs, even tried burning it like an ant with this high-powered magnifying glass.
What is that? Oh my god!
didn't work. Our winning streak was officially over. I suppose it's true what they say, don't send a boy to do a blimp's job. By abusing the very same chaos portals the demons created, I was able to teleport my blimp army directly into the heart of Villach's kingdom, and thanks to some questionably balanced units, we were back in the win column, but our territory was still beset by a bunch of miscellaneous freaks, and they're starting to corrupt the environment, which is itself spawning rebel armies. But that's alright, there's just Kolek and Wulfric left. I actually found Wulfric in a very vulnerable position on my northern shores. Alone, and with almost no troops under his command, I dispatched 4 of my militias to deal with him, but perhaps sensing the noose tightening, he, let's just say, deleted himself. I don't know why, but he was there one turn and dead the next.
Oh my god! He deleted himself. He gave up. We take those. He rage quit.
You can blame it on a freak accident or a bad horoscope, but personally, I don't care. On to Kolek. In case you couldn't tell, Kolek is fairly dangerous.
Kolek
He wields
is cool.
a hammer
Look at Kolek. Kolek is cool. Kolek is cool.
the size of 6 grown men, and I have personally never seen him cry even once. We attacked him just outside of Cathay with what's left of our army. We have about 5 units of riflemen, a few blimps on life support, and whatever random regiments of renown I could anxiously recruit before the battle. Kolek's army was composed
Oh my
of 5
God.
units of hell cannons, and basically everyone else was some variation of a person who would like to crush your skull beneath their bare foot. The battle was on, and I breathed a sigh of relief, because my siege weapons had longer range than his. But as it turns out, Kolek must be a top, because he did not appreciate being pounded. It's all the same.
He must be a top.
Same to me though, because with his cannons destroyed, I can now safely deploy my blimps into the... Oh.
Oh.
Okay, so I guess I missed one. Anyway, after a little more shelling, we were back on track. Kolek's beasts closed the gap on my gun line very quickly, probably because we were having a hard time aiming while being struck by lightning. After 10 minutes, all of my units were dead, except for a couple of heroes and a blimp which has 230 health. Kolek was still running around hammering my artillery crews into the ground, but eventually Balthazar Gelt killed him by transmuting his body into lead. The
What? Ain't no way that guy beat Kolek.
blimps may have also helped with this physical transformation.
Yes.
After leaving the battle, we were greeted with an ultimate victory screen. By using trench warfare, chemical weapons, and generally unfair units, we were able to usher in an age of peace. Truly, the world can move forward and live in harmony. Wait, no. We still have unfinished business. In the end, perhaps I was the endgame crisis all along. Alright, big thank you to this month's patrons, and finally, thank you for watching. And also, thank you to War Thunder. You can check out the game using the link in the description or the pinned comment below to receive all this cool stuff. Alright, that's all. See you later.
That's amazing. Reggie videos are always so good. Peak. Clappy clappies. Dancy dancies.